Hi everyone, it's Don, and I hope you're having a fantastic week. And guess what I just did? I just recorded 3 videos in a row and forgot to turn on the sound. That's what I did. So let's start again. In this video, I want to talk to you today about all the things I do to get ready for a cruise, especially a long cruise, and what my double checks are before I go, and something that's kind of only I heard that I do, and most people look at me kind of strange when I do it. That's coming up next, right after this. First off, I make sure my travel plans are set. I have all my documentation ahead of time for the cruise. I have my boarding pass, I have my luggage tags, I have my transfers, and if I haven't booked my airfare yet, I make darn sure I get out there and book that airfare, and I choose the seat locations where I want to be. Now, oftentimes when you book, you can't choose your seat until 24 hours ahead of time unless you pay for it. So on my particular cruise, I'm allowed to pay for it 60 days in advance. I went online, I chose my seats, I paid the extra $25 to move to those seats because, well, one of my cruises is, one of my flights is a long flight. It's overnight from near 11 p.m. till 8 in the morning. So I want to make sure that I'm going to be able to put my head against the window and maybe get some sleep overnight. So I definitely didn't want an aisle seat or worse, a middle seat. So if you have a family traveling together and you want to be together, make sure you choose those seats. I want to give you a quick tip also about flights and how they work, especially for when you're booking online through websites like Travelocity or Expedia or something along those lines. When you click looking for flights, and let's just say we're going from Toronto, Canada to Fort Lauderdale, and you say return flights, I'm leaving on this day, I'm landing on this day, show me. They'll show you the first flight where you're flying from Toronto to Fort Lauderdale. You arrive at this time, it says good, it says okay, here's your return flight. Click on that, it shows you your return flight. You just check the times. Times look good, price looks good, you click OK. What you didn't double check is where you're landing. Sometimes they will change the airport you're landing in. I just saw this happen recently where we clicked return, and instead of landing in Toronto, they landed in Hamilton, which is another 20 minutes outside of Toronto. So how is that a return to my home city of Toronto when that happens? And it happens quite often. So keep that in mind. Double check your airports when you're looking. Don't just assume that they're saying they're going to return you to the city they say you're going to return to where you're leaving from, because they might change it. I've had flights here in Ottawa where they said I looked for return and they were sending me to Montreal, which is a 2-hour drive down the highway. So keep that in mind. Also, if you're one of these people you're looking at your flights and there's only certain flights. For instance, my last trip, I had to land around midnight and my next flight was at 8 o'clock in the morning. No problem, except for one thing. They consider that a different day. So you know how you pay for your luggage on board. So if I have 3 bags, it's $25 for the first bag, $30 for the second bag, and $50 for the third bag. I paid it once. I land in Toronto. They give me my luggage back, and then I have to go through security again the next morning, even though I'm not leaving the airport, and I have to pay for those bags again, because they consider that a next day. They consider you have disembarked and are now reboarding, even though it's a return flight from the same booking number. So another thing to keep a watch out for, because you're paying for your luggage twice. So try and avoid those flights at all costs. So now I'm set. I've got my seats. I've got all my documentation. I'm ready to go. The next thing I do is I figure out how much travel money I want to have on me. In this case, I need Canadian dollars, I need American dollars, and I need euros. So I'm not going to go to the bank And I'm not going to get this done at the airport because the exchange rates would be ridiculous. Sometimes you're paying 30% exchange rates at the airport, which is nuts. So I don't need a ton of money. My cards are going to be good wherever I go, but I want money so if I want to buy a bratwurst or something along the, a snack, I don't at a hot dog cart. I don't need to have my card. They're not going to accept my card. I need cash. So I figure out how much I need and I go to a currency exchange and get it done properly and get the lowest possible exchange rate I can, and I keep those travel funds ready, all set to go in my travel-on bag, already packed. Then I put it in my wallet before I leave, but that's where I store it so I don't lose track of it. Because if it's on me, if it's Canadian dollars, I'm going to spend it because that's how I am. Also, even though I travel a lot and I am well aware of my passports and when they expire, I check my passport. If you have more than one person traveling, say you're 4 in a family and you have 2 kids, well, you and your spouse and your 2 kids may all have different dates on their passport and different expiry dates. So make sure none of them expire within 6 months of the last day of your cruise. Not the first day, the last day. So that actually can make a big difference if you happen to be going on a longer cruise, like a 30-day or a 45-day cruise. You have to add 6 months to the last day. Otherwise, your passport isn't considered expired. I saw somebody jumping on a cruise that was 60 days long and their passport expired on day 50 of that cruise. And, 50 if you add the 6 months after that. And they had a hard time getting on the ship. Eventually they were allowed to get on, but it took a whole lot of convincing to be able to get them on that ship. Next, I figure out what I need to bring with me on the cruise. And then I look at everything and I try and cut it. I try and slash as many things so I'm not traveling with too many bags. I want to have as few luggage as I can. First of all, it keeps my room from being overcrowded when I'm there. It also is cheaper when I'm flying. I don't have to pay for the excess bags. And it's just a lot easier to keep track of everything. Less chances of your luggage going missing if you only have one bag. All those things, it's a benefit to cut back as much as possible so you're not lugging around all your stuff ahead of time. Once you get to the cruise ship, it's not a problem. But if you have post-cruises stays and pre-cruise stays, it can be a hassle. The next thing I do, right now I have 43 days before my cruise. And it's right around now that the cruise lines are starting to send me emails offering me discounts and trying to sell me things ahead of time. There are things that I know I'm going to buy, like I need to buy the internet package and I need to buy the soda package. So I'm looking and waiting for deals for them to pop up. If they don't pop up, I'll buy them about 3 or 4 days before the cruise. There's no issue there, you have plenty of time. But I'm hoping that I get like a 10% to 25% discount ahead of time to do that. Right now, the latest offer they sent me was the Premier Photo Package. Normally it's $250 and I can get it for $199, so that's a savings of 25%. If I was interested in the photo package, that would be a good savings, and so I would purchase that ahead of time. Also, they may send me offers saying, hey, would you like to upgrade from the cabin you're in to this cabin for this much money? Please call us back at this time. And then I would decide, do I want to have another cabin? My last cruise on the Royal, they offered me from an inside to a deluxe balcony cabin. At that time, I knew I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time in the cabin. I was by myself, so an inside cabin has plenty of room for me. So I didn't upgrade myself. I saved that money and used all that money for my traveling expenses. This time around, I'm on a 15-day cruise, so yeah, the more room I have, I might feel a little better. I'm already in a balcony, so who knows? Maybe they'll offer me a suite. Maybe they'll offer me a mini suite. If they do, I may just take them up on that offer. Now that I've checked my passports, my tickets, my airfare, my seats, my luggage and all that, I'm good to go. One of the last things I double check is I contact my credit cards and my banks and let them know the dates that I'm traveling so there's no issues with them thinking that somebody is trying to scam my card and cutting off services to it. I will have much less likely chance of any of that happened. It hasn't happened to me now in 5 years, as long as I make sure that I let the banks and the credit cards know that I'm traveling and the dates that I'm traveling. Another place I call, because I'm gone for so long on this trip and I'm in another country, not just like Canada, US, Caribbean, I'm also in Norway, I'm in Ireland, I'm in London. So I need to have a phone package in case I need to reach people when I'm away that long. It's not like I'm just going on a 3 to 7 day cruise where I can get away with a week. 20 days is 3 weeks. That's a long time to be out of reach of business and friends and family if anything happens. So what I do is I buy a 1-month subscription for an international rate that gives me so many minutes and so many texts and so much data that I can use it in any of the countries that I'm in. It costs only like $60 to $70, and it's a one-use, one-time only thing, and it covers me off for my entire trip. Much better than having to one time use the phone somewhere in Ireland, and you're on the phone for 30 minutes and you get home and you found out with the roaming charges and etc. it ends up to be a $400 phone bill. So that's one of the things I do, especially on a long cruise. And I know you've been waiting for it. What's that one thing that I do that people kind of look at me strange? Well, I don't know if you're aware of this. If you've cruised before, you probably are aware of it because it's happened to you. The average person, when you go on a cruise, adds 15 pounds. Well, sorry, not 15 pounds. That's what I would end up adding. 1 pound a day when you're on a cruise. So if you're gone for 7 days, it's 7 pounds. I'm gone for 15 days. That would be 15 pounds added to this, already too heavy frame. So I don't want to have that happen. And it's because, the food is everywhere. It's all included in your price. You can eat as much as you want. And especially if you're on sea days, you're not leaving the ship. You're not going on you're just wandering around the ship. So I'm going to grab a pizza slice. I'm going to grab a burger and go into the main dining room. Oh, let's go down to the International Cafe, get some treats, get some sugar. All that stuff adds up and you gain a lot of weight. And I don't want to lose 15 pounds. So around between the 40 and 30 day mark before my cruise, I jump on a crash diet. I do this before every cruise, and today I weighed myself. I got very mad at myself, and I know why I weigh this much right now, because the other day I went to the dollar store and they had a sale on Reese's peanut butter cups. You know what I'm talking about. You got peanut butter in my chocolate. You know those commercials. Well, they had those packs of 10, and they were only 40 cents, and I bought $4 worth. So I got 100. Sorry, 40. Would that be what it is? No, 10. I got 100. I had 100 of those snacks. I don't have those 100 anymore. I've eaten them all. And at the first 5 are, they were really good. The 80th and 90th was like, I gotta get rid of these things. But they were so good and so cheap. So I bought them, and that's why I weighed that. So today I've cleaned out my cupboards, I've cleaned out all the junk food, and I'm going on the diet I normally do is called ketosis or keto diet, if you want to look it up. You can follow along. Basically, it's you're cutting carbs and you're eating mostly meats, and you're just trying to stay in this zone of fat burning. And when you're in this zone called ketosis, you can get these measuring sticks, and in the morning when you wake up, you pee on them, and they will tell you if you're in ketosis or not. And as long as you stay in ketosis, you lose weight. And I've done this a couple times. I had a nephew lose 50 pounds this way, and he's the one that inspired me to do it. And now lots of people in my family, my other nephew, my nieces, my father-in-law, they've all tried it and they've all lost weight. And I've done it and I've lost weight. So if you look it up, it's called the keto diet if you want to check it out. But in the meantime, you can follow along and see my progress. I showed you what my weight is today, and I will show you my weight going forward a week or two, and definitely just before I set sail on my cruise. And then I'll show you my weight when I come back from my cruise, and we'll see if that gaining 1 pound is true, or do I just beat all the odds and gain 2 pounds a day on my cruise, because I'm going to have a good time on this cruise. So I hope you like this video. That's one of the strange things I do, but I also do a lot of smart things. I get my money set, I get my seat tickets, I get the seats that I want to be in, I make sure my cards are aware of where I'm going, my passports are good, my documentation is set, I cut the luggage as much as possible so I'm not burdened down with a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really need. That's the things you should be doing, and saving money wherever you can, unless you have lots, and then go for it. That's what I always say. If you got it, use it. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world, please hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.